Dr. Hana Kim stared at the message on her screen for the third time. The words were simple, but they made her hands shake. She worked at Galactic Research Station Omega-7, floating in space around a distant planet. For 15 years, she had studied alien life forms. She thought she had seen everything. She was wrong. The message came from the Vorthak Empire. Everyone in the galaxy knew about the Vorthak. They were old, powerful, and scary. Their ships were huge. Their technology was beyond anything humans could build. They rarely talked to other species, and when they did, it was usually bad news. Today was very bad news. Dr. Kim, the message said in perfect English, your species has made a terrible mistake. A human research ship has found something on planet Kepler 442b. They must leave immediately. The offspring must not be disturbed. This is not a request. This is a warning. Hana picked up her communication device and called Captain Jiwon Park. Jiwon commanded the research vessel New Seoul that was currently on the planet's surface. The call took several minutes to connect across the vast distance. Captain Park here, Jiwon's voice crackled through the speakers. Jiwon, we have a problem, Hana said. The Vorthak have contacted us. They want you to leave that planet right now. The Vorthak? Jiwon sounded surprised. What do they want with our little research mission? They mentioned something about Offspring. What exactly did you find down there? There was a long pause. Hana could hear voices talking in the background on Jiwon's ship. Hana, you need to see this yourself, Jiwon finally said. We found something incredible. There's a valley on the northern continent. It's full of these things. They look like giant crystal eggs, but they're alive. Dr. Lee thinks they might be some kind of alien babies. How many are there? Hundreds, maybe thousands. They're all the same size, about as big as a human child. They glow with soft light, and our scanners show they're definitely alive. But here's the strange part. They only react when we humans get close to them. Hana felt a chill run down her spine. What do you mean, react? The light gets brighter. The energy readings go crazy. It's like they know we're here. Dr. Lee is fascinated by them. He's been studying them for 3 days now. Jiwon, listen to me carefully, Hana said. The Vorthak are scared. I've never seen them scared before. They specifically mentioned Offspring. Whatever those things are, the Vorthak don't want us near them. Well, it's too late for that, Jiwon replied. Dr. Lee has already set up a full research camp around them. And Hana, there's something else. Yesterday, one of our researchers, Yuna Choi, got very close to one of the crystal things. The moment she approached it, the whole valley lit up like a festival. At that moment, Hana's computer began beeping rapidly. New messages were coming in. She looked at her screen and her heart stopped. 12 massive ships had appeared at the edge of the star system. They were Vorthak warships, each one bigger than anything humanity had ever built. Jiwon, Hana said quietly, we have 12 Vorthak battleships in our system. The silence on the communication line lasted for a full minute. They're here already? Jiwon asked. They're maintaining distance, but yes, they're here. Another message appeared on Hana's screen. This one was longer and more detailed. As she read it, her fear grew. The human species demonstrates the same dangerous curiosity that has destroyed civilizations before, the message read. Your people do not understand what they have found. The offspring are not simple creatures. They are choosers. They select guardians from among the species they encounter. Once chosen, the bond cannot be broken. Once bonded, the offspring becomes something new, something powerful. The message continued. We have kept the offspring in their sleeping state for over 2,000 years. Every species that has encountered them has made the same mistake. They believe they can control the offspring. They believe they can use their power. They are wrong. The offspring choose their own path, and they choose based on the nature of those who find them. Hana read the final part of the message out loud to Jiwon. Humans are different from other species we have observed. You do not simply protect what you find, you teach it, you change it, you encourage it to grow beyond its original purpose. This makes you dangerous. The offspring will sense this in you. They will want to bond with your kind. If this happens, both our species may face consequences we cannot predict. So what do they want us to do? Ji-Wan asked. Leave. Now, before any permanent contact is made. Hana, I can't do that. This is the greatest discovery in human history. These creatures, whatever they are, they're trying to communicate with us. Dr. Lee believes they're intelligent. Yuna says she can feel them in her mind when she gets close. Ji-Wan, there are 12 warships out here, and there are innocent creatures down here that need our help. Look, the Vorthak might be powerful, but they're not evil. If we can prove that we're not going to hurt these offspring, maybe they'll understand. Dr. Hana Kim looked out the window of her research station. In the distance, she could see the dark shapes of the Vorthak fleet. They hadn't moved closer, but they hadn't left either. They were waiting. She thought about humanity's history. Humans had always been curious. They touched things they shouldn't touch. They went places they shouldn't go. They asked questions that had no safe answers. It had gotten them into trouble many times, but it had also led to incredible discoveries. Dr. Lee wants to bring one of the offspring up to the ship for closer study, Ji-Wan continued. He thinks they might be trying to hatch or wake up. If we can understand what they need. Absolutely not, Hana interrupted. Ji-Wan, promise me you won't move any of those creatures. I can't promise that, Hana. If they're in some kind of trouble, if they need help. The communication line went quiet. Hana tried calling back, but there was no answer. She looked at her screen again. A new message had appeared from the Vorthak fleet. Your ground team is no longer responding to warnings. We detect increased activity in the offspring chamber. Dr. Kim, your species has very little time to make the right choice. Once the offspring begin their selection process, it cannot be stopped. Hana stared out at the Vorthak ships and made a decision that would change everything. Instead of ordering the evacuation, she began preparing her own ship for a journey to the planet's surface. If humanity was about to make a species-defining mistake, she wanted to be there to see it happen. The offspring, whatever they were, had waited for thousands of years in their crystal shells. Now, for the first time, they had encountered a species that approached them with curiosity instead of fear, and according to the Vorthak, that made all the difference. Dr. Minho Lee stood in the middle of the Crystal Valley, completely amazed by what he saw. 3 days ago, this place had been quiet and still. Now it hummed with energy. The crystal shells that held the sleeping offspring glowed brighter every hour. His scanners showed readings he had never seen before. The energy output has increased by 30% since yesterday, he told his assistant, who was taking notes nearby. Whatever is happening inside these shells, it's happening faster now. Yuna Choi walked carefully between the crystal formations. She was a young researcher, new to alien contact work, but she had a gift. She could sense things that others missed. Right now, she felt something calling to her from the largest crystal shell in the center of the valley. Dr. Lee, she said softly, I think they know we're here. What do you mean? Watch this. Yuna walked toward the central crystal. As she got closer, the shell began to pulse with warm, golden light. The pulsing matched her heartbeat exactly. Dr. Lee checked his scanner. The neural activity inside that shell just spiked to incredible levels. It's like a human brain, but 10 times more active. Captain Jaiwan Park's voice came through their communication devices. Team, we just lost contact with Dr. Kim's research. Station, the Vorthak ships have moved closer to our position. I need you to pack up and return to the ship immediately. 5 more minutes, Dr. Lee replied. We're on the edge of a breakthrough here. Dr. Lee, that's an order. But Dr. Lee wasn't listening anymore. He was watching Yuna, who had moved even closer to the central crystal shell. She was now standing just inches away from it, her hand raised as if she wanted to touch it. "Yuna, step back," he called out. "I can hear it," she whispered. "It's trying to talk to me." "Yuna, we don't know if it's safe." "It's not dangerous," she said with certainty. "It's scared. It's been sleeping for so long, and now it's waking up. It doesn't understand where it is or what's happening." The crystal shell began to crack. Tiny. Lines of light appeared across its surface, spreading like a spider web. Other shells around the valley started to show similar cracks. "Dr. Lee?" Captain Park's voice was urgent now. "What's your status down there?" "The Offspring are waking up," Dr. Lee said, never taking his eyes off the cracking shells. "All of them." Yuna reached out her hand and placed it gently on the warm surface of the central crystal. The moment her skin made contact, the entire valley exploded with light. Every crystal shell began cracking at once. A sound like singing filled the air. Beautiful and strange. "Yuna, get away from there!" Dr. Lee shouted. But it was too late. The shell under Yuna's hand split completely open. Light poured out, so bright that Dr. Lee had to cover his eyes. When the light faded, he saw something impossible. A being stepped out of the broken crystal shell. It was the size of a human teenager, but clearly not human. Its skin was pale and seemed to glow from within. Its hair was silver and moved as if it was underwater. Its eyes were large and completely black, like deep space filled with stars. But the most shocking thing was how human it looked in other ways. It had a human face, human hands, human expressions. It looked at Yuna with intelligence and understanding. "Thank you," it said in perfect Korean. Its voice was soft and musical. "I was dreaming for so long. You helped me wake up." Yuna stared in amazement. "You can speak our language?" "I learned it from your mind when you touched my shell. Your thoughts are very loud." "All human thoughts are loud. That's why we noticed your species from so far away." Dr. Lee approached slowly, his scanner recording everything. "What are you?" "I don't know what to call myself," the being replied. "My creators called us the Chosen, but we never understood what that meant. We have been sleeping, waiting for the right guardians to find us." "Guardians?" "Someone to teach us about the universe, someone to show us how to use our abilities wisely. We tried bonding with other species before, but they all wanted to control us or use us as weapons." More crystal shells began opening around the valley. Beings similar to the first one emerged, all looking confused and curious. They stayed close to their shells, watching the humans carefully. "Why are you different from the others?" the first being asked Yuna. "What others?" "The angry ones in the sky. They have been shouting at us for days, telling us to go back to sleep. But we don't want to sleep anymore. We want to learn." Captain Park's voice came through the communicators again, but this time she sounded frightened. "Team, the Vorthak ships are powering up their weapons. They're demanding that you evacuate immediately." The first Offspring, who had been listening to the communication, looked sad. "They are afraid of what we might become. They remember what happened before." "What happened before?" Dr. Lee asked. "Other species tried to make us into soldiers. They wanted us to fight their wars. When we refused, they became angry. Some tried to force us. It ended badly for everyone." Yuna knelt down to be at eye level with the Offspring. "We don't want you to be soldiers. We just want to understand you." "I know," the Offspring smiled. "That's why we chose humans. Your minds are full of curiosity and kindness. You ask questions not to control, but to learn." Suddenly, the Offspring looked up at the sky with concern. "The angry ones are very upset now. They think we will make the same mistakes again." "Doctor." Lee checked his communication device. There was a message from the Vorthak fleet. "The Offspring have begun bonding with your species. This cannot be allowed to continue. You have 1 hour to surrender the awakened beings to us, or we will take action to protect the galaxy." "What do they mean by bonding?" Dr. Lee asked. The Offspring looked at Yuna. When you touched my shell, something changed in both of us. I can feel your thoughts sometimes, and you can feel mine. We are connected now. That connection will make both of us stronger and smarter. Is that dangerous? Not dangerous, but different. Other species couldn't handle being connected to us. They either became too protective or too controlling. But humans... The Offspring paused, as if listening to something only it could hear. Humans are natural teachers. You want to help us grow, not use us. More offspring continued to emerge from their shells. Each one looked around with wonder, taking in their first view of the world in thousands of years. They moved toward the human researchers, drawn by curiosity and trust. My name is Taman, the first offspring told Yuna. What should I call you? I'm Yuna. This is Dr. Lee. Yuna? Taman repeated, as if testing how the name felt. Will you teach me about your world? Will you show me what it means to be human? Before Yuna could answer, the sky began to darken. The Vorthak ships were moving into attack position, casting huge shadows over the Crystal Valley. They won't hurt us while we're here with you, Taman said confidently. But they are very scared. They think humans will make us dangerous. Dr. Lee looked around at the dozens of newly awakened offspring, all watching the humans with trust and hope. Maybe, he said quietly, they're right to be scared. 2 days had passed since the first offspring awakened, and Captain Jiwan Park could barely believe what she was seeing. The Crystal Valley had transformed into something that looked like a small city. The offspring had not only learned to speak perfect Korean and English, but they had also begun building structures from the broken crystal shells. Taman walked beside Yuna as they toured the new settlement. In just 48 hours, he had grown taller and stronger. His appearance had changed, too. While he still looked alien, he now had some features that reminded everyone of Yuna. His eyes were still completely black, but they had the same kind expression as hers. His smile was gentle and curious, just like Yuna's. The other offspring want to meet more humans, Taman told her. Every time one of your people comes near us, we learn something new. We learn about emotions, about creativity, about hope. Dr. Lee was working with a female offspring who had chosen the name Hyon. She had bonded with him during the awakening, and now she understood complex science almost as well as he did. Together, they had figured out how to improve the research ship's engines. Look at these calculations. Dr. Lee showed Captain Park a screen filled with numbers and diagrams. Hyon can process information at incredible speeds. She's solved energy, problems that have puzzled our best scientists for years. How is that possible? We think differently now, Hyon explained. Her voice was soft but confident. When I bonded with Dr. Lee, I gained access to human creativity. I can see solutions that pure logic might miss. Dr. Lee gained access to my processing power. Together, we can do things neither of us could do alone. Captain Park looked around the valley. There were now 15 awakened offspring, each bonded to a different human team member. They worked together on various projects, building tools, and structures that seemed to blend human creativity with alien technology. But the Vorthak ships still waited in space above them. Captain, came a transmission from the lead Vorthak vessel. We must speak with you directly. What is happening on your planet's surface exceeds our worst fears. This is Captain Park. What do you want? We want to explain why you must stop this bonding process immediately. May we send a representative to meet with you? Captain Park looked at Taman, who nodded. They are not evil people, he said. They are just very afraid. Let them come. Perhaps we can help them understand. An hour later, a small Vorthak ship landed near the research camp. The being who emerged was tall and thin, with blue-gray skin and large, sad eyes. He introduced himself as Commander Zeth. I have watched over the offspring for 300 years, he told the assembled humans and offspring. My people have guarded them since they were first created by an ancient race that no longer exists. Why were they created? Yuna asked. To be the perfect beings. They were designed to take the best qualities from any species they encountered and combine them. With their own advanced abilities, the goal was to create a new form of life that could help solve the galaxy's greatest problems. That sounds wonderful, Dr. Lee said. Commander Zeth looked grim. It was wonderful, until the Offspring began choosing their guardians. Every species that encountered them made the same mistake. They became too protective. They started wars. To keep the Offspring safe, they used the Offspring's abilities to defeat their enemies. The Offspring, influenced by their guardians, became powerful beyond measure. But we're not doing that, Yuna protested. Not yet, Commander Zeth replied. But humans are different from the other species we have observed. You are more curious, more creative, more willing to take risks. This makes the Offspring even more powerful when bonded to you. Taemin stepped forward. Commander Zeth, may I show you something? The Vorthak leader nodded. Taemin placed his hand on a pile of broken crystal shell pieces. The fragments began to glow and reshape themselves into a beautiful sculpture that looked like a tree made of light. This is what I learned from Yuna, Taemin said. Not how to fight or destroy, but how to create beauty. Human minds are full of art, music, and stories. They don't just solve problems, they imagine better worlds. Hyan joined them, holding a device she and Dr. Lee had built together. This machine can clean polluted water instantly, she said. We made it because Dr. Lee told me about Earth's environmental problems. We want to help, not to control. Commander Zeth examined the device with amazement. This technology is beyond anything my people have developed. How did you create it? So quickly? Human creativity combined with Offspring processing power, Dr. Lee explained. Separately, neither of us could have invented this. Together, it took us 6 hours. Don't you see, Taemin said to Commander Zeth. The problem was never the Offspring. The problem was species who saw us as tools instead of partners. Humans don't want to use us. They want to grow with us. Commander Zeth was quiet for a long time. Finally, he spoke. What you say sounds reasonable, but what happens when other species see how powerful you have become? What happens when they feel threatened by the Human-Offspring Alliance? Then we teach them too, Yuna said simply. We share what we've learned. We show them that cooperation is better than competition. And if they refuse to learn, if they attack you to prevent you from becoming too powerful? Taemin and the other Offspring looked at each other. Something passed between them. A silent communication that the humans couldn't hear. Then we will defend ourselves, Taemin said quietly. But we will defend with creation, not destruction. We will build shields instead of weapons. We will heal instead of harm. Commander Zeth shook his head. You are naive. The galaxy is not a kind place. There are species that will see your peaceful intentions as weakness. Maybe, Hyan said. But there are also species that will see our peaceful intentions as strength. We believe more beings want to build than destroy. At that moment, Captain Park's communication device signaled an incoming message. It was from Earth. Captain Park, came the voice of Admiral Kim, head of Earth's space forces. We have received reports about your discovery. The Galactic Council is demanding that you turn over any alien beings to their custody immediately. They consider the situation a potential threat to galactic security. Taemin looked sad. They want to separate us from our human partners. They want to study us like specimens. What do you want to do? Yuna asked him. I want to go to Earth, Taemin said. I want to meet more humans. I want to see the world that created minds like yours. If we are going to prove that our bond is good for the galaxy, we need to show everyone what we can accomplish together. Commander Zeth looked alarmed. If you bring them to Earth, every species in the galaxy will see it as an act of aggression. They will think humans are building an army. Captain Park made a decision that would change the course of human history. Then we'll prove them wrong. We're going to Earth, and we're going to show the galaxy what humans and Offspring can create, together. The Offspring gathered around their human partners, ready for whatever came next. The journey to Earth should have taken 3 months. With the Offspring's help, it took 3 weeks. Hyun had worked with Dr. Lee to completely redesign the ship's engines. Instead of burning fuel, they now drew power from space itself, using a method that no human scientist had ever imagined. The ship moved faster than anything humans had ever built, but so smoothly that no one felt the incredible speed. "How did you figure this out?" Captain Park asked, as she watched the stars streak past the viewing windows. "Dr. Lee taught me about human dreams of space travel," Hyun explained. "He showed me stories about starships that could cross the galaxy in days. I took those dreams and made them real. But the modifications weren't the most amazing thing happening on the ship. The Offspring had been learning about human culture through their bonds with the crew members. They absorbed information at incredible speeds, but more importantly, they understood the emotions and values behind the facts. Taemin had learned about music from Yuna. Now he could create songs that made people feel happy, sad, or hopeful just by humming. He composed melodies that seemed to speak directly to the human heart. Another Offspring named June had bonded with engineer Sue Park. Together, they had invented a communication system that could translate any language instantly while preserving the emotional meaning behind the words. "It's not just about changing words from one language to another," June explained. "It's about understanding what the speaker really wants to say, including feelings they might not even realize they have." As they got closer to Earth, Captain Park received more and more messages from both human and alien authorities. Earth's government was divided about what to do. Some leaders saw the Offspring as humanity's greatest opportunity. Others worried. They might be too dangerous. The Galactic Council was even more concerned. Ships from 12 different species had gathered near Earth's solar system. They weren't there to welcome the Offspring home. "Captain Park," came a transmission from Admiral Kim on Earth, "I need to inform you that the Galactic Council has issued an ultimatum. They want the Offspring transferred to a neutral research facility where representatives from multiple species can study them." "What if we refuse?" Captain Park asked. "Then Earth will be expelled from all galactic treaties. We'll lose access to alien technology, trade routes, and protection. Humanity will be alone in the galaxy again." In the ship's main meeting room, the crew gathered with their Offspring partners to discuss what to do. The Offspring had been listening to all the communications, and they understood the situation perfectly. "They want to separate us," Taemin said sadly. "They think we will be safer and less dangerous if we're not bonded to humans. They don't understand that separation would hurt both of us," Hyun added. "Dr. Lee and I are stronger together. Apart, we would both be less than we were before we met." Yuna stood up. "Then we don't separate. We stick together and prove that our bond makes the galaxy better, not worse." "But what about Earth?" Engineer Park asked. "If we refuse to cooperate, our entire planet will suffer." The Offspring looked at each other with their strange, silent communication. Then Taemin spoke for all of them. "We have an idea," he said. "What if we prove our good intentions before anyone asks us to? What if we solve problems that have been troubling the galaxy for years?" "What kind of problems?" Captain Park asked. June answered, "Through your communication systems, we have learned about many issues that different species face. The Alkari people are running out of food because their planet is dying. The Helix Federation is fighting a war over water rights. The Corvani Empire has a plague that their doctors cannot cure." "You want to help them?" Dr. Lee asked. "We want to show them that human Offspring partnerships create solutions, not problems," Taemin said. "If we can help other species with their biggest challenges, Maybe they will see us as friends instead of threats. Captain Park thought about this idea. It was risky, but it was also very human. Instead of hiding or fighting, they would try to help. How would we do this? We go to Earth as planned, Hyan said. But instead of staying there, we ask Earth's government to let us travel to worlds that need help. We show the galaxy what we can do together. Admiral Kim's voice came through the communicator again. Captain, you need to make a decision soon. The Galactic Council fleet is getting impatient. Captain Park looked around the room at her crew and their Offspring partners. These beings had been asleep for thousands of years, waiting for the right species to wake them up. They had chosen humans not because humans were the strongest or smartest, but because humans were the most willing to teach and learn. Admiral Kim, she said into the communicator, please send a message to the Galactic Council. Tell them we accept their request to demonstrate that the Offspring are not dangerous, but we want to do it our way. What way is that? We want to visit every species that has a problem we might be able to solve. We want to prove that human-offspring partnerships exist to help, not to conquer. There was a long silence from Earth. Captain, that's not what they're asking for. It's what we're offering, Captain Park replied firmly. The Offspring bonded with us by choice. They're not our prisoners or our weapons. They're our partners. And partners help each other solve problems. Taemin smiled at Yuna. I told you humans were natural teachers. You want to show the whole galaxy how to cooperate. Is that crazy? Yuna asked. Yes, Taemin replied, but it's the kind of crazy that changes the world. Commander Zeth's voice came through on a private channel from his ship, which had been following them to Earth. Captain Park, what you are proposing is unprecedented. No species has ever offered to help others without asking for something in return. That's because no species has been bonded with the Offspring before, Captain, Park said. The Offspring make us want to be better than we were, and humans make the Offspring want to use their abilities to build instead of destroy. The Galactic Council will see this as a trick. Then we'll prove it's not a trick. We'll help species that have been enemies for centuries. We'll solve problems that seem impossible. We'll do it all openly, with anyone who wants to watching. As Earth grew larger in their viewing windows, Captain Park made the announcement that would reshape galactic politics. This is Captain Ji-Won Park of the research vessel New Seoul. We are requesting permission to land on Earth but not to stay. We have partners who want to help heal the galaxy's wounds. We're asking Earth to be our home base, while we prove that some partnerships are strong enough to change everything. The Offspring gathered at the viewing windows, looking at the blue and green planet that had produced their chosen guardians. It's beautiful, Taemin said softly. No wonder your people dream of peace. Anyone who grows up looking at something so beautiful would want to create more beauty in the universe. The real test was about to begin. The Lunar Research Facility had never hosted so many alien species at once. Representatives from 37 different galactic civilizations gathered on Earth's moon to watch the human offspring demonstrations. The atmosphere was tense with suspicion and curiosity. Dr. Hana Kim, now serving as Earth's primary liaison with alien species, looked out at the assembled crowd. She recognized the tall, elegant Alkari with their feathered crests. The mechanical-looking Corvani stood in perfect formation. The water-breathing Helix delegates sat in special tanks that allowed them to participate in the proceedings. This is highly irregular, announced Chancellor Vex of the Corvani Empire. His voice came through a translator device that made him sound even more mechanical than he looked. We are here to evaluate a potential threat, not to watch a performance. Taemin stepped forward, still holding Yuna's hand. Over the past month, he had grown to nearly adult size, and his appearance had stabilized into something that looked both alien and familiar. His connection to Yuna was now so strong that they could communicate without speaking. Chancellor Vex, Taemin said politely, We understand your concerns. We are not here to perform tricks. We are here to solve real problems that have troubled your people for generations. Impossible, scoffed Ambassador Krill of the Alkari Union. Our food shortage crisis has existed for over 50 years. Our brightest scientists have found no solution. Hyan joined the conversation, with Dr. Lee beside her. Ambassador Krill, we have studied your situation through the galactic information networks. Your planet's soil has become too acidic to grow traditional crops, correct? Yes. But how could you possibly— We have developed a solution, Dr. Lee interrupted, pulling out a small device that looked like a cross between a human tablet and alien crystal technology. This is a soil restructuring matrix. It can neutralize acid in soil and restore the mineral balance needed for plant growth. The Alkari ambassador stared at the device. That is theoretically possible, but the energy requirements would be enormous. No civilization has power sources capable of planetary scale. Soil treatment, Hyan smiled. We do now. She activated the device, and it projected a hologram showing how the process would work. The matrix draws power from planetary magnetic fields. It's completely sustainable and has no harmful side effects. How long did it take you to develop this? Asked Dr. Fell, a representative from the Galactic Science Council. 72 hours, Dr. Lee replied. Hyan understood the chemical processes involved, and I provided knowledge of Earth's soil recovery methods. Together, we found a solution that neither of us could have discovered alone. Murmurs spread through the alien assembly. 72 hours to solve a problem that had stumped entire civilizations for decades. But the Alkari ambassador wasn't convinced. Even if your device works, how do we know it's safe? How do we know you haven't created something that will harm our people? Test it, Yuna said simply. We brought enough soil samples from your world to demonstrate the process here. You can watch every step. For the next 2 hours, the assembled aliens watched as the human Offspring teams demonstrated solution after solution. They showed the Helix Federation how to purify water contaminated with industrial waste. They presented the Corvani with a cure for the mechanical plague that had been destroying their cyborg population. Each demonstration was more impressive than the last. The Offspring and their human partners didn't just solve problems, they explained their solutions in ways that other species could understand and replicate. This is remarkable, admitted Dr. Fell, but I must ask the obvious question. Why are you sharing these technologies freely? What do you want in return? Taman looked, puzzled by the question. We want to help. That's what partners do. They help each other. But surely you expect some form of payment, some territorial concessions, some strategic advantage? No, said June, the Offspring who had bonded with Engineer Park. We learned about human economics from our partners. Humans understand that helping others often helps yourself in the long run. When everyone prospers, everyone benefits. Chancellor Vex stepped forward. This is naive thinking. In the real galaxy, every species must compete for limited resources. Cooperation is fine between allies, but eventually, conflicts arise. Then let's prevent the conflicts, Hyan suggested. Most wars start because species need something they don't have. If we can help everyone have what they need, there's less reason to fight. You make it sound simple, said Ambassador Krill. It is simple, Taman replied. It's just not easy. It requires species to trust each other and work together instead of trying to dominate each other. At that moment, alarms began sounding throughout the facility. Admiral Kim's voice came through the communication system. All delegates, we have an emergency situation. Long-range sensors are detecting a massive energy signature approaching the solar system. Something big is coming. Dr. Hana Kim checked her instruments. What she saw made her heart race. It's a dying star, she announced. A red giant is about to go supernova, and it's heading directly toward Earth's solar system. Panic spread through the alien delegates. Several species began demanding immediate evacuation. Others started arguing about who had the right to use Earth's escape ships. "How long do we have?" Captain Park asked. 18 hours before the radiation wave reaches us," Admiral Kim replied. "Even our fastest ships can't evacuate everyone in time." The Offspring looked at each other with their silent communication. Then they turned to their human partners. "We can stop it," Taman said quietly. "Stop a supernova?" Chancellor Vex sounded incredulous. "That's impossible. Even the most advanced civilizations can't control stellar events." "We can't stop the star from exploding," Hyon explained. "But we can redirect the energy wave away from inhabited systems." "How?" Dr. Lee pulled up star charts on the main display. "We create a gravity well that pulls the wave in a different direction. We turn the destructive energy into a force that creates instead of destroys. The power requirements would be astronomical." Dr. Fell protested. "We can generate that much power," June said confidently. "All 15 Offspring working together, combined with human creativity and knowledge, can create a gravity manipulation field strong enough to redirect stellar energy." Ambassador Krill looked skeptical. "Even if that's possible, why would you risk your lives to save species that don't trust you?" Yuna answered for all the humans. "Because that's what you do for your neighbors. You help them, even if they don't like you very much. And because," Taman added, "this is our chance to prove that human Offspring partnerships exist to protect life, not threaten it." The next few hours were the most intense in human history. The Offspring and their human partners worked together to build a device that had never been attempted before. A gravity manipulator powered by the combined will and intelligence of two species working as one. As the radiation wave approached, ships from across the galaxy watched in amazement as the impossible happened. The deadly energy that should have destroyed multiple star systems was redirected harmlessly into empty space. But more than that, the redirected energy created something new, a stable wormhole that would allow faster travel between distant parts of the galaxy. When it was over, the lunar facility was completely quiet. Finally, Chancellor Vex spoke. "We have seen something today that challenges everything we thought we knew about power and cooperation. The real question," said Ambassador Krill, "is what happens now? You have proven that you can reshape the galaxy itself. How do we know you won't use that power to conquer us?" Taman smiled tiredly. "Because conquering you would make you unhappy, and making people unhappy makes us sad. We're connected to humans, remember? And humans are happiest when everyone around them is doing well." The demonstration was over. Now the real choice began. The Galactic Council chambers had never been so crowded or so quiet. Representatives from hundreds of species filled the massive hall, all waiting to hear what the Offspring would say about their future. Taman stood at the center of the chamber, with Yuna beside him and the other Offspring arranged in a circle around them. They had asked to address the council together, speaking as one unified voice. "Honored delegates," Taman began, his words being translated into dozens of languages simultaneously. "We know why you are here. You want to decide what happens to us. You want to determine whether we are safe for the galaxy." Murmurs rippled through the assembly. This wasn't the humble, submissive tone many had expected. "But we have made our own decision," Hyon continued. "We choose to determine our own future. We choose our own path." Chancellor Vex of the Corvani Empire stood up. "You are dangerous beings with incredible power. The galaxy cannot risk allowing you to roam freely, bonded to a species as unpredictable as humans." "Unpredictable, yes," Taman acknowledged. "But unpredictable in good ways. Humans surprise us every day with their capacity for kindness, creativity, and hope." President Chen of the Earth delegation had been quiet until now. She rose to speak. "The Offspring have been with us for 2 months. In that time, they have helped solve food shortages, cured diseases, and saved multiple star systems from destruction. How is this dangerous? Because they grow stronger every day, replied Ambassador Krill of the Alkari Union. Today they redirect stellar energy. Tomorrow they might decide to create new stars, or destroy old ones, or reshape entire worlds according to their whims. Our whims, said June with a smile, are to plant gardens, write music, and help our friends solve their problems. We learned these whims from humans. The ancient delegate from the Wise Ones, a species so old they remembered the creation of the Offspring, spoke for the first time. Young ones, you do not understand the full scope of your abilities. In time, you may become more powerful than entire civilizations. What happens when you disagree with each other? What happens when you want different things? Then we talk about it, like families do, Yuna answered. We discuss our differences and find solutions that work for everyone. And if talking doesn't work? Taman was quiet for a moment, consulting silently with his fellow offspring. Then we ask our human partners to help us understand each other better. Humans are very good at seeing different sides of problems. But what if your human partners disagree with each other? Then we help them find common ground, Hyon replied. That's what partnerships are for, to help each other be better than we could be alone. Commander Zeth of the Vorthak Empire, who had been observing quietly from the back of the chamber, stepped forward. Delegates, I have watched these beings and their human partners for months. I was prepared to see them become weapons of conquest. Instead, I have seen them become instruments of healing. You support their independence? Chancellor Vex asked, surprised. I support their choice, Commander Zeth replied. My people spent thousands of years trying to control the offspring, keeping them asleep to prevent them from bonding with dangerous species. But we were wrong. The danger was never in the bonding. It was in trying to prevent the bonding. What do you mean? Species that tried to force the offspring to serve them created corruption and conflict. But species that accept the offspring as equal partners create cooperation and growth. Humans are the first species to truly treat the offspring as family rather than tools. The chamber erupted in debate. Some species supported the offspring's independence, while others demanded restrictions and controls. Through it all, the offspring remained calm and patient, listening to every argument and responding with thoughtful answers rather than anger or defensiveness. Finally, the Supreme Chancellor of the Galactic Council called for order. We will now vote on the proposed resolution. All in favor of granting the offspring full autonomy and citizenship rights? The vote was closer than anyone expected. Progressive species like the Helix Federation and the Alkari Union voted in favor. Conservative empires like the Corvani and several smaller factions voted against. The deciding votes came from unexpected sources. The ancient wise ones voted in favor, saying, "Evolution cannot be stopped, only guided." Several military species voted in favor after seeing how the offspring had used their power defensively rather than aggressively. When the count was finished, the offspring had won their freedom by a narrow margin. But Taman wasn't finished speaking. "Thank you for recognizing our right to choose our own path," he said, "but we want to offer something in return. We want to create something new in the galaxy." "What kind of new thing?" the Supreme Chancellor asked. "A different kind of civilization," Hyon explained. "Not an empire or a federation, but a partnership of species who want to grow together instead of competing against each other. We call it the Cooperative Alliance," June added. "Any species that wants to solve problems together, share knowledge freely, and help each other prosper is welcome to join." "And humans will lead this alliance?" Chancellor Vex asked suspiciously. "No, one will lead it," Yuna replied. "That's the point. It will be a partnership of equals, where every species contributes their strengths and helps cover each other's weaknesses." The offer split the galaxy even further. Some species were intrigued by the possibility of a new form of cooperation. Others saw it as a threat to traditional power structures. Over the following months, 12 species chose to join the Cooperative Alliance. They included the Alkari, whose food crisis had been solved by Offspring technology. The Helix Federation joined after seeing how human offspring teams had purified their contaminated oceans. Even some Vorthak colonies joined, despite their government's official neutrality. Earth became the embassy world for the new alliance, but not its capital. The Offspring insisted that the alliance should have no single center of power, no one species making decisions for others. Dr. Yuna Choi, now recognized as the first human Offspring ambassador, stood in her office overlooking the new Cooperative Alliance headquarters. Through her window, she could see beings from a dozen species working together on projects that would have been impossible just a year ago. Taman joined her at the window. He was now fully mature, looking like a perfect blend of human and something greater. His bond with Yuna had grown so strong that they often shared thoughts without realizing it. "Do you think we made the right choice?" she asked him. "The Vorthak warned your people not to touch us because they feared what we might become together," Taman replied. "They were right to fear it, but wrong about whether it would be wonderful or terrible." "And which is it?" Taman smiled and pointed. Out the window at a group of young beings from different species playing together in the courtyard below. Some were human children, some were young offspring, and some were the children of alien diplomats. "Look at them," he said. "They don't see differences between species. They just see friends to play with and learn from. That's the future we're building. Not human, not offspring, not any single species, but something new that includes everyone who wants to be part of it." Later that day, Taman and the other offspring prepared for their most ambitious mission yet. They had detected signals from other sleeping offspring in distant parts of the galaxy, dozens of them, waiting in hidden places for species brave enough to wake them. "We're going to give them the same choice we were given," Hyan explained to Dr. Lee as she prepared her traveling pack. "The chance to bond with partners who see them as family rather than weapons. And if the species you find aren't ready for that kind of partnership?" Dr. Lee asked. "Then we wait," Taman replied. "We waited thousands of years for humans. We can wait for other species to learn what humans taught us, that the best way to be strong is to help others be strong too." As their ship prepared to leave Earth's orbit, Yuna felt a moment of sadness. She would miss Taman during his journey, even though their bond would keep them connected across any distance. "Don't worry," Taman told her through their mental link. "I'm taking the most important thing you taught me on this journey." "What's that?" "Curiosity. The desire to explore and learn and grow. The belief that the universe is full of friends we just haven't met yet." The ship carrying the Offspring disappeared into hyperspace, beginning a journey that would spread the message of cooperation throughout the galaxy. Back on Earth, Yuna returned to her work, helping the Cooperative Alliance grow stronger each. She often thought about the Vorthak warning that had started everything. Do not touch the Offspring. They had been wrong, she realized. The Offspring had never been the ones with plans. It was the humans who had plans. Plans to explore, to learn, to make friends with strange beings from distant worlds. The Offspring had simply been waiting for a species bold enough to turn those plans into reality, and together they were reshaping the galaxy one partnership at a time.